All right, guys, we've had a couple days off from NBA basketball as some of the teams were eliminated, and we got the Western and Eastern Conference finals coming up. I wanted to preview those games. I've missed talking about basketball. We got to get back to talking about basketball. It's going to be fun. Tomorrow we got Cleveland and Boston starting, so we're going to start talking about them, and then I want to talk about Houston and the Warriors. So just thinking about Cleveland and Boston, this season for a lot of teams has been so unique, especially for Boston. Boston is that team where if you told everyone before the playoffs started that Boston would be in the Eastern Conference Finals, but they'd do it without Gordon Hayward or Kyrie Irving the whole time, that they'd beat the Philadelphia 76ers pretty handily, by the way, and do it against LeBron James, you'd probably be a little surprised. I don't know. I know I was. But Boston has looked every bit one of the most talented teams in the Eastern Conference, honestly. I've actually had so much fun watching Boston, especially when they played Philadelphia. The way that Boston spreads the floor is incredible. Al Horford is an absolute stud. And his ability to spread the floor, pass the ball, he's honestly probably the most intelligent, smartest defender in the NBA at the center position. With his ability to understand the defense, positioning, he can actually stand up. Like he stood up Joel Embiid so showed his strength and his ability to guard the post against Joel Embiid. Al Horford was the major reason that the Boston Celtics were able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. Cleveland has LeBron James, also known as Thanos. He holds the Infinity Gauntlet right now. And so that's something that the Boston Celtics are going to have to figure out, is how to defeat LeBron James as he holds the Infinity Gauntlet. It's difficult, because his PER right now is very high. When you have all the Infinity Stones, it makes your PER very good, and that's what LeBron's doing right now. He's just decimating teams. I mean, he took the soul out of the Toronto Raptors, and they lost their head coach. He died. Dwayne Casey died today. Lost his job. He's dead from Thanos. He didn't feel well, and he disintegrated. Oh, look, even the green screen creates the disintegration from LeBron, who's insane. And one of the things that's surprising me about, well, not surprising, but one of the reasons that they did so well against the Raptors, it's kind of that little, unsung hero story, is Kevin Love. Kevin Love has played great. He has been so solid for Cleveland. And then when you have Kevin Love and LeBron James, LeBron going just nuclear, and then you have Kevin Love playing great basketball, all-star level, and then you have like J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver and all those shooters around LeBron hitting shots. The Cleveland offense is really good. So Cleveland-Boston is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interesting. The Raptors, after they had those first two losses, those were bad losses by the Raptors, and you could tell after they went to Cleveland it was done. They just did not have anything left. They didn't have anything resembling, they knew they were going to lose. They had just, and so some of that Raptors Cleveland series is a little hard for me to tell. LeBron was just absolutely insane. He had that game where he, I think it was game 2, where he was just practicing turnaround shots, and some of them were just it was just crazy. LeBron is on another level right now. And that's why when I look at Boston and Cleveland, I tend to lean towards Cleveland, just because how do you pick against LeBron the way he's playing right now? He is just out of his mind. And at the end of games, his dominance is so apparent. Against the Raptors, you could just tell there was just like this dread. Like they just knew that LeBron was going to come and come and come at the end of the game and score and score and score no matter what. And if LeBron's hitting his threes, he's the greatest of all time. It's just no question. But I think my pick for that series is Cleveland, but I think it's going to be a lot tougher than we think. I think it's Cleveland in 7, actually, because I think Boston is really talented. You've got Terry Rozier, who is just a knockdown three-point shooter. I mean, he's got ice water in his veins, and he's got talent, and he's fast. He's got a little Donovan Mitchell to him. He's got that ability to get to the hoop and score, but he's also an efficient three-point shooter. He's turned into a really, really nice player. By the way, I would not be surprised if Utah throws a contract to Terry Rozier. and you get that Louisville backcourt. But that's a video for another day. But Rozier's been just a floor stretcher for them. He's been hitting big-time shots. He's not afraid of the fourth quarter. He's not afraid of the big moment in the playoffs at all. He's been really, really high-level starter for the Boston Celtics. And then you've got Jaylen Brown, who is now hopefully, I'm not quite sure how healthy he is. Let me know in the comments how healthy Brown is, but he's looked incredible. His efficiency's through the roof right now. His shooting's great. He's long, athletic defender. I remember watching him in Utah Jazz Summer League, and you could just tell this guy was going to be really good. He was the best player on the floor, honestly. He was so dominant and so athletically gifted, his ability to finish at the rim, and the fact that he's turned himself into such an efficient three-point shooter is remarkable. I mean, are we really? It's not that surprising that Boston beat Philly with what they're playing with Rozier hitting shots, Jaylen Brown hitting shots, and then, of course, Jayson Tatum, who, in my opinion, is the number 2 Rookie of the Year candidate behind Donovan Mitchell. That's right, Ben Simmons fans, sorry. Jayson Tatum is that good. He's been incredible. He's got the 20-plus point streak going on right now. He is an elite level scorer, and he's only 20 years old. He's remarkable. The thing I like about Tatum is he's a 3-level scorer. He's a 3-point shooter. He's a mid-range. He can do a mid-range pull-up, and then he gets to the rim, and he finishes with height and athleticism. He's fantastic. He's absolutely a stud, and he's been scoring for them in the playoffs efficiently as well. And you know what's nice for Boston, and this is why the other reason that I think Boston has a chance to really surprise the Cavs, and if the Celtics win, I'm not going to be that surprised, is Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens won that a couple games for the Celtics against the Sixers with those out of timeout plays that are just incredible. He had that one game where he had 2 of them. 2 in a row where he got a bucket at the rim. Stevens is incredible, probably the coach of the year, and he's created a system with incredible talent, by the way. I mean, Tatum, Brown, Rozier has turned out to be a really nice pick, and then Al Horford is a really tough guard. And when you consider the fact that Baines can shoot that corner 3 with regularity, he makes it with regularity. That's a 5-out system that scores. And then on the other end, you've got, Defensive Player of the Year candidate now, Horford. Baines is a tough son of a gun. And then you've got Brown, Rozier, and Tatum. And then you've got Marcus Smart and all these other guys that guard and are athletic and long and create turnovers. Like, Cleveland's got their hands full, and I would not be surprised. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like picking Boston if it weren't for LeBron. They have a way of just scoring and defending that's very high level. The Celtics are fun to watch. I hate them right now because they took Gordon Hayward from my Jazz, but they're fun to watch, and they create problems for everybody. Their 5-out scoring is really good, and they defend. Long athletics, create turnovers, and get easy buckets. So I picked the Cavs because they have Thanos, but you never know. This might be a case of Adam Warlock showing up and defeating Thanos. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything for anybody. So now let's talk about Houston and the Warriors. This one's going to be interesting to me. I think Cavs Boston I don't think is a sweep at all. I think that one's going to be close. This one has variance to me. It could be really tough, or it could be really fast. It really just depends on the Warriors. We watched Houston play Utah, and Houston took care of Utah relatively easily. They did drop that one game, and they had some close ones with Utah, but that's because Utah's defense is so good. Golden State dropped one to the Pelicans, but they kind of looked a little disengaged in that loss. Same with Houston. They looked a little disengaged in their loss against Utah. It's going to be really interesting. Harden looked a little gassed against the Jazz, but it might have just been sickness. But if Harden isn't 100%, then this is an easy victory for Golden State. Golden State, just Steph Curry has come back and he looks 100%. And that's why I picked the Warriors. And I actually think they probably win this in 6 games. I'd be surprised if it goes beyond that. But the one X factor that I think the Rockets have, well, they have 2. They have Chris Paul and Clint Capella. We all know what Harden brings, and we all know the shooters around him like Gordon, Ariza. Ryan Anderson hasn't been playing as much, but you've got shooting all around Harden, but now they've got Clint Capella, who's taken things to another level, and they got Chris Paul, who can get buckets off of James Harden. One of the reasons the Rockets were able to beat the Jazz is because of Chris Paul. Chris Paul took scoring load off of Harden. Harden, those last few games, Harden was not that great. His efficiency was really low, and the only reason he scored as well as he did was the free throw line. But it was Chris Paul who scored 41 in the closeout game against the Jazz. He was hitting that mid-range shot, and you watch Chris Paul, and he just weaves his way all over the court to get to his spots, and then he buries it. And he's going to do that against the Golden State Warriors. And the thing that's going to be tough for the Warriors this year, as opposed to other times they face the Rockets, is all 5 players on the Rockets have to guard somebody, because the Rockets are also that they have the 4-out scoring with the inside work of Capella, but that actually is super dangerous because Capella is a oop monster and also a defensive. He's going to be the best defensive player on the floor. That fight with Draymond and Capella is going to be really interesting. Capella was so good against the Jazz. He was so good, had an incredible series. And his offense is really good because what he does is he gives options to Paul and especially Harden to finish at the rim. So the Rockets are going to score. It just depends on how good are the Warriors. But honestly, just like I don't want to bet against LeBron, I have a hard time betting against the Warriors, who are the best team in the league. They just are. They're so good. 4 all-star starters, 2 MVP level players on that starting roster in Curry and Durant. They just can score against anybody. And if you guard Durant and Curry, you've got Klay Thompson, who can just win. Klay Thompson will win a game this series on his own. He'll have one of those games where he just blows up and just hits everything he shoots and just decimates the other team. Thing is this Rockets team can actually score. It's going to be a good series, actually, because the other thing that's underrated about the Rockets is actually how good their defense. Both the Warriors and the Rockets have great defenses, but the Rockets defense is much improved from last year and legitimately good. PJ Tucker has been an absolute weapon for them. And there are going to be times where, and the Rockets with PJ Tucker have options to go at the Warriors and find ways to hopefully, if you're a Rockets fan, find ways to score on them and also get stops. PJ Tucker's a big part of this series, and also Mbah Moute. But you're going to see a lot of Mbah Moute, I hope I'm saying that right, jump shots and 3-pointers, because the Warriors are smart. They guard really well. They have great game plans, and they're going to come out and try to find weaknesses. Thing is, these teams have very little weaknesses. And especially between the Rockets and the Warriors, like, what's the weakness? It's really just like elite team versus very elite team. And, whoever game plans the best, I guess. D'Antoni impressed me with his game plans against Utah. He really adjusted well and makes me think that Houston has a pretty good chance. I know some people are saying Warriors in 4. I think the Rockets really push them. I don't want to bet against the Warriors because they're just that good. And maybe the Rockets prove me wrong, but going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Tomorrow it starts, and we get to watch LeBron and Boston. It's going to be a blast. The next day we get to watch Rockets, Warriors. So much fun. The series we've kind of been waiting for this year is finally here. We get to watch this incredible basketball. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Was I wrong? Was I right? What do you think? Subscribe too. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Hoops Nerd channel, NBA show. I'll talk to you later, guys.